Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account, and if you caught the stream earlier, it seems that the rumors are starting to come a little bit more true, and that is the rumor of what Dolly is talking about and what the chatter is over on Discord, which could be, and I hope, fingers crossed, not even mad, could be the awakened version of Thoran. That is right. It seems like this is going to be the next Greyborn, so the third Greyborn that we're seeing outside of the awakened version of Baden, the awakened version of Shamira, and now it will be the awakened version of Thoran. So the line that Dolly says is a true king never submits to the control of others. We know the storyline, the backstory, that Thoran is the fallen king. Now, in addition to just talking about that and looking what was over on Discord, they also said the next hero is receiving a trailer, so it has to be an Awakened, a Highborn, or an IP hero, which of course we could see a crossover, something like that. Has an internal code of SNK Storm, and the code name on there is Thoran. So literally, it is the name of the hero. Now, if you remember before, however, want to take it with a grain of salt because we also did see a couple other ones that we thought were going to be crossovers. Even looking at a few other ones in here, even looking at Frampton, they thought Frampton was going to be a hero that was a crossover. And we also do have an additional king. If you think of the kings and where they really came from within this game, I don't think they would do it. But we know that Arthur is also the king. When it comes to the King of Camelot, he was a king. But I think, honestly, they wouldn't do a dimensional hero. So a lot of players were also asking about the dimensional heroes, if they would ever do a dimensional hero as an awakened dimensional hero. I don't put anything past Lilith as of today, just for the simple fact that we have seen some crazy things, even looking at Shamira from a caster to a tank, vice versa. A lot of crazy things, but looking at a lot of the heroes, so thinking of like Rem and Amelia, looking at, Rimuru and Shuna, all of those are contracted through the game company that essentially owns the rights to that, meaning that they would have to renegotiate and they would have to do something differently if they wanted to do a crossover with the hero. Now, the workaround with this is the garrison. So a lot of questions came up about Shuna and about Rimuru being in the crossovers. And of course, looking in the garrison, as we sit today, they are not in the garrison. Traditionally, what we see with these heroes, and even looking again, Rem, Amelia in there, you see Ainz and Albedo, we see all of our crossover heroes. They are released about 5 to 6 months after the hero is originally released. At that point, they're eligible for the garrison. So if you're newer to AFK Arena, this is exactly how you get these heroes. If you don't have some of the really big heroes in here, and honestly, Amelia and Rem are a very solid choice to get. A lot of players also had questions about Albedo. When it comes to Albedo, it is a hero, unfortunately, we're not seeing a lot of utility with, and we're not seeing her being picked up in a lot of dimensional formations. I feel like the little 5% that she gives to the dimensionals for the attack rating is not high enough to make her effective, especially with the viability and the power creep that we're seeing. Now, in addition, we did have a conversation about Randall. Randall has been showing up a lot of different places, so I know he is not up on the global servers as of right now, but essentially we're going to see very similar to what we've seen with our Wilder heroes. If you remember correctly, the Wilder heroes, we actually had a hero drop, which we know was Misha. Misha dropped right before we seen another awakened hero. So they're kind of following that exact same trend. Misha dropped, and I believe right after Misha, we did see the awakened version of Iran, which was the next to drop. Very, very big hero, starting to have a lot more utility in AFK Arena. And that is the hero that we see now. Of course, if they're doing this the exact same, they actually released Randall a little bit early, 12 days early to be exact. So he was about a week and a half that he came early to AFK Arena, but if they're following the same one, they're going to drop Randall a couple days after Randall is introduced. The trailers will start with the awakened version of Thoran over on the test servers. So I'm expecting, if it is the awakened version of Thoran, if it is the awakened Greyborn, which we know that is the case, we're going to start seeing videos, and we're going to start seeing content coming out around it really within the next week. It should be within the next week again over on the test servers. Now, this is going to be very interesting because we know the Abyssal Expedition is starting. So within the next couple days, we're going to have the registration period. Randall is going to be released at that time, which we know Randall over on the test server, again, thinking bigger picture, starting to be used in a lot of the Nightmare Corridor formations. Could be used in the Abyssal Expedition, but if the awakened version of Thoran is released while the Abyssal Expedition is going on. Don't know exactly what that's going to look like when it comes to the content and when it comes to the heroes that are going to be utilized in here. He could come out of the gate being super broken, being an absolute priority to build, but it's going to be interesting to see if it is the awakened version of Thoran, how they build him. So a lot of players were kind of questioning with, Baden being the Ranger, and then we have the awakened version of Chimera that came out as a tank. Would they keep Thoran as a tank? Would they move him to a warrior role or something else with the Fallen King? Now, this, of course, is the Halloween skin. If you guys remember Thoran, Thoran is the default skin, and Thoran, funny enough, through the Thoran cheese, is still being used today. A hero that is incredibly, incredibly old, even looking at the 11 billion power, and even looking at the portraits. This is how you can kind of gauge when the heroes were released in AFK Arena, and you can see up here, even here, 365, 366, 367, and this is the power creep that we talk about. When the combat rating continues to go up as heroes continue to be released, you can see that the combat rating is kind of scaling a little bit over the heroes, but this is what a lot of players talk about, is when you start looking again at 426, the heroes that are more of the recent released heroes, we do see a lot more of the combat rating, which is the base stats that they are starting. So looking at really Grez, Chimera, and honestly, these first couple, I even remember back when like a Nara was introduced, and when these heroes were very, very new, Nara was absolutely dominating because she had the ability to kill Brutus within the shield. But overall, guys, we are seeing a lot more heroes in AFK Arena. And again, Randall is coming, possibly could be the awakened version of Thoran. Going to be pretty interesting. Now, for me personally, I am sitting on 666. That is right. It is the Graveborn, the sign of the devil. That Thoran is coming. I am sitting on these time emblems right now. Last time it took us about 450 to get the awakened version of Iran, which means we'll have more than enough time emblems to finish out the final hero for this year. And at that point, we have all of them except the awakened version of Aziz, which essentially doesn't really make a difference to me because we swapped him for Baden once upon a time. Now, looking also at what else we're going to need to build him, we have the red chest already ready and sitting. We have our epic emblem chest just kind of chilling at 200. We need 4,500 elemental cores. So with the current event that's going on, we'll be able to pick up enough cores, meaning that we're going to have enough to summon him, going to have enough to engrave him, also going to have enough to go ahead and get him the signature item. Now, the caveat, or really the wrench that is thrown in the system right now, is what is it going to look like with Randall? Is Randall going to be an absolute requirement? If we're putting a lot of these resources into Randall as it sits today, does that mean the awakened version of Thoran is going to slack behind, or we're not going to have enough resources to go ahead and build him? So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to summon for Randall utilizing my diamonds. Don't know if that's going to be enough to pick him up, but overall, going through a couple game modes, I'm going to get Randall the copies, but I'm not going to get to the point of building him out because I want to see what the impact is in the Abyssal Expedition as well as other game modes. But like I had said earlier, it seems like there are a lot of places that the hero is being used as of right now. So I can see coming up on Global, a lot more players using him that we're going to continue to see and see really an increased utility. So guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Thoran, if he's going to be the next one coming down the pipeline. And as always, thank you guys for watching.